Hello, if you're new here, one, I'm a photographer, filmmaker, do more work in the film space than in the photo space. Number two, I do a lot of work in the sports world. And number three, I just moved across the country. So this video, I guess it's pretty relevant to where I'm at right now. So about a year ago is whenever the idea started coming to my head that I was going to move. And with that, I was trying to check off some boxes so that whenever I moved, every single thing in my life didn't change, but instead just a few things and like the location I'm in, but maybe my work will continue to be the same. So I started to build things around that. With that being said, the first thing that I knew I needed to do was, at the time, the majority of my income was coming from real estate video. I wasn't really enjoying that much at the time, and I felt like it was holding me back in other areas because I was turning down sports jobs just for that consistent paycheck. So come about February, I decided to stop doing that. Yes, it was a big change. I mean, I was making anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 a month doing that, and that's a lot of money. I mean, you could live off of just that money, but I knew that there was a change that I needed to make because by the time I moved to Denver, which is where I'm at now, I wouldn't have that anymore. So let's cut that cord while I'm still comfortable in Chicago with the people I know and everything's a little bit more normal instead of changing that on top of moving across the country. And now fast forward to today. How I make my money is typically traveling for jobs or editing videos. More so comes from traveling for work. So being by an airport, I'll still be good to make that money. And then I also monetized my YouTube channel a few months ago. Not making a ton of money yet, but I mean, it's like $100 to $200 a month. So it's something so far. Let me actually pull up the numbers so I can tell you exactly what it is. So in the past 3 months, in June, I made $77. In July, I made $119. And in August, $76. And then it'll probably be down a little bit because I haven't posted much with the move, been trying to get settled in and everything, but hopefully that number will go back up and continue to rise now that I'll be posting again. But yeah, that's how I make my money, especially with not being in the same place that I've been in for the past 6 years. I mentioned I travel a lot for work, and that's what allows me to move across the country because it's been funny how the older generation, whenever I've told them that I was moving, they're like, oh, did you get a new job in a different city? Whereas the younger generation, like my friends, they're like, oh, that's sweet. Are you just moving because you want to move? It's funny you see this shift in how people think, whereas I feel like my generation isn't as much like find a job, follow that job. It's more so find a place you want to go to that place, and then figure it out. I guess the internet has allowed for that to happen. But I just need to be by an airport that was relatively big so that my flights didn't jack up in prices for my clients. And so Denver was a pretty good option there. I've actually been on, get ready for this, 360 flights over the past 3 years. That is a crazy number to sit back and look at my Apple Wallet of all my different boarding passes. But yeah, I guess that's how I get to most of my jobs, but a lot of flights looking back on it. And I would say typically I'm traveling for about, in total, 1 to 2 weeks out of every single month. And to do so, I'm working with a bunch of different brands. Sometimes it's heavier with different agencies. Sometimes it'll be all over the place where I'm traveling from one city to another for 2 different jobs for 2 different clients. That changes up a good amount. But I work with a bunch of different clients, not just the same one over and over again. Now, you might be sitting there like me. My goal was always to get paid to travel and use a camera. But how do you even get there? My number one tip, I've said it over and over again. You can probably look back at 10 of my videos I've posted already. But talking to other photographers and networking with other photographers, and I use photographers and filmmakers kind of interchangeably, so let's say creatives, has been the most impactful thing, without a doubt, on my entire professional career. Even as I moved out here, I have DM'd or emailed so many creatives trying to just meet people in the area. I've met up with a couple of people. Hopefully I'll meet up with more in the next couple of weeks, but starting to create that network out here. So maybe it'll make my life a little bit easier where I don't have to travel for every single paycheck, even though that's what I like doing. But yes, it does take a toll sometimes. When you network with those other photographers, some of them might have agencies who need people for projects. Some of them might get big and then they need you to step in and help them out with the things that they can't do. There are a bunch of different avenues that don't have to be going out and finding your own clients right away, even though I feel like that's the direction that I'm going to end up moving in. I don't know if it's going to be the near future or just it's some point soon. I guess that's the normal trajectory of a creative. And if you want to travel a bunch, the world that you could get into is the event space. So when I do a lot of work for Under Armour, they will send me a batch of dates at the beginning of the year, and then I will tell them which ones I can and can't do. Those dates aren't really dependent upon me. If I can't do it, well then they'll probably just find somebody else, which sometimes bothers me a little bit, but that's just the event world. But that allows you to travel more, because if the event is in Atlanta when you live in Denver, well, you got to go there for it. So you inevitably end up traveling there. Sometimes clients will try to find local creatives, but if you end up partnering with an agency, there's a pretty good chance that they will fly you out just because they have the ease of knowing that you'll do a good job. But you got to prove yourself initially, and maybe that will come with doing a job for them in your own city or sending them work where you've done something similar. So that as a whole is how I make money traveling and how I don't have to be pinned down to one city. But now, how will I continue to evolve and continue to make money in different ways or the same ways? Number one, I'll continue working with the same clients. As I mentioned before, being at an airport that's a major airport, flight prices won't go up that high. So to a lot of my clients, it doesn't really matter what city I'm in. Inevitably, I probably will lose a couple of jobs because I'm not in Chicago, and I had a big network in Chicago and they have enough budget for a day rate, but not a day rate plus travel expenses. So there are ways that maybe I can't foresee right now, but I'm sure my work will change a little bit. And one way that I think I need to push myself in a little bit more is going out and finding clients that I can make videos in my style. So if you've ever seen like the postcard style, which I know is a trend right now, but like I really enjoy making those with the locked off shots that just rely on a cool composition, maybe I can go out and find clients that want that, or just start to be part of the more pre-production, production, post-production, where they are my own client and I can more strategize things and not just be told, hey, this is what we're trying to accomplish, go accomplish it because you can use a camera. Start to be able to come up with my own ideas and then accomplish those. Got to force myself to work in that direction because it's not always easy dealing with the client emails and all that, but I know I can do it creatively, so I got to force myself in the business perspective. But after all that I just said, yes, there are nerves about moving to a different city. I'm leaving a lot of friends. I am not going to be as comfortable, but there's also so much excitement, and the excitement is actually the uncertainty of it. For me, I'm not a huge planner of a person, so I am excited to see what changes happen without me really seeing them about to happen, and excited to just see in what ways my life does change, making different friends and work moving in a different direction, and things will happen because I'm putting myself out there and I am making a change and not just staying stagnant in the world where I could have continued to make the same that I've been doing, where it's like, let's say $80,000 to $100,000-ish, but maybe big things will happen now that I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone. We'll see what happens. Subscribe if you're not already. Peace.